sports office is talking about high school sports, and you can't do that without bringing in NMPreps.com's Kyle Henderson. And, of course, on his side is Lawrence Gilligan, who's our regular contributor on this show.
Yes, sir.
Kyle, I can't believe we're already in the playoffs. Well, no, I can. I think about all the football shows that we've done, and we can believe we're in the playoffs now, but we're almost at the end of it. And I'm surprised by some of the teams that I'm seeing still left around, because I thought Rio Rancho would be here to say something about it in 5A. They're not. I thought La Cueva would be. They're not. And I thought possibly, like Mayfield would be around. I mean, it's been incredible in the ranks of 5A, and the other classes have been kind of on cue, except for Artesia losing. But other than that, I can't believe it.
Yeah, first off, happy to be back in the sports office. Thanks, guys. It's good to catch up with you guys. You guys do such a fantastic job during the high school football season. And you're right. I mean, the parity at the Class 5A level has been exceptional all season. And I think with Volcano getting in as the number 9 seed to the Final Four, and then you have El Dorado, the number 11 seed, it makes for some fantastic high school football. Yeah. Charlie Dotson has done an excellent job, as usual, leading the El Dorado Eagles to only a 6-5 season, but they're winning in playoff time. Last week they beat La Cueva 21-7, holding the Bears to only 7 points. Definitely impressive. You also have Volcano Vista, as we talked about earlier. Brandon Madrid doing work in the secondary along with Josie Sears Ortega. So Chad Wallen, is finally getting his opportunity to do big things, and really happy to see the Metro coaches doing their work. And then you have the Las Cruces Bulldogs, of course. That was my preseason favorite, and we're getting to see the game that really never took place. Remember back in week 2, El Dorado and Las Cruces, that game was canceled because of rain. So, here they meet in the Final Four, kind of ironic, and it's a repeat of the 2009 state title game that Cruces won 26-21. So more than likely that's where I'll be on Saturday in high school football playoffs. It's that time, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah. When was the last time you've had, say if Las Cruces hypothetically does lose, when's the last time 2 Albuquerque Metro schools have battled it out for the state title game? It'd be unbelievable to see that.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think it's ever happened. Yeah. Cruces and Mayfield, they've only met 4 times ever in the playoffs. Wow. And only once in the state championship. That game was in 2002, back when I was a senior in high school. So there hasn't been a Metro state championship, but 3 out of the last 4 in the Metro for 5A are in the Final Four. So it'd be interesting to see how packed it would be, at Wilson Stadium. And we're really close. Sandia, they're going to be dangerous for Volcano tomorrow night.
And that's unbelievable. Like you talked about how packed it would be for Wilson Stadium. We know about the passion in the South, as like if Cruces was meeting Mayfield, so to speak, they would sell out Aggie Memorial Stadium. But it is going to be interesting to see what the interest is around here. But who do you think is going to be left standing? Because we're in the semifinals, but it's just this whole thing has been so unpredictable. And we talked about it on the show last week. Me and Lawrence did, and I was saying maybe Las Cruces because they're you would just have to favor them.
Yeah, I think with Las Cruces, what makes them the heavy favorite is their size up front. They have a bunch of linemen on their team that are the borderline Division I, Division II guys that we always have in New Mexico. Yeah. They have a tight end by the name of Cameron Dixon. He's continued to excel throughout the season. Yeah. Jonathan Joy, their quarterback, has really emerged, and he's one guy as a senior that's really gained the spotlight. And then you have running back J.J. Gregos. He had 8 touchdowns last week. Yeah. That's fantastic. So I think that makes them the favorite. And then on the other side, you have El Dorado. They're the underdogs. They're depleted. Their running back, George Pacheco, he checked out earlier in the year with the broken forearm. But I hear he's playing on Saturday, so which bodes well for El Dorado. I think you're going to take Cruces, or at least I am, into the finals. And then on the other side, that game is it's more difficult to predict for me because I think they match up well. They did meet in the early season with Sandia winning. Coach Barker, he has that chip on his shoulder. His son's a senior. He's finally got to get his opportunity to reach the state titles, something that he hasn't done coaching for over 20 years in Albuquerque.
They have a really good quarterback, too. Sandia does, and Kaufman. It's just really fun to watch him throw, but Volcano Vista has a brilliant offense as well, with Chavez in the backfield. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be kind of a high-scoring game. What do you think, like around the 30s? Or I don't know. I think it's going to be a shootout.
That game, with the size of both of those teams, that's going to be a real physical game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very. And so whoever wins up front, but that's any football game, whoever wins up front. But at the same time, I think this might be a body bag game, man.
Yeah. And, you know, back to the Cruces and Eagles game, Coach Dotson was talking about how he's kind of glad that they are the underdog, that they are the 11 seed, because there's no real stress. There's no real, like, expectations of winning. You know, they're just go out there and play their game and hopefully not beat themselves.
Yeah, I think you make a great point because you go into that game as the underdog, the number 11 seed. You're starting a sophomore quarterback. Now, we all know Zach is, you know, an unbelievable athlete, but he's still a sophomore. And they were starting a freshman at running back, you know, in part of George Pacheco's injury. So you have a sophomore at quarterback, freshman at running back. But Coach Dotson, I mean, I don't think he gets enough credit for the job that he does at El Dorado. He's added some key coaches to his staff. Coach Stephen Castillo, he used to be a head coach at Santa Fe Capital, and then Coach Chris Howe, who was a former coach at Del Norte. So he has some very good components around him. And El Dorado, they're going to fight. You know, they're a metro school that does a fantastic job in the playoffs. They're one school in particularly that does a great job against Las Cruces schools.
He brings toughness to it.
They've battled Mayfield, they've battled Cruces, and this time getting an opportunity to knock off Cruces can be tough to do.
You know, quickly, let's say something about 4A quickly and 3A quickly because I want to get to basketball. But 4A, I'm going title game. I'm going Goddard, Los Lunas. Title game.
That's the matchup that I would like to see as well. I mean, what Goddard's done over the course of the year has been fantastic. They beat the number 1 seed in 5A, which was the Rio Rancho Rams. They're unbeaten at 11-0. They've played the tougher schedule. And Coach Jernigan, you know, throughout his career, he's one of the more successful high school football coaches. He's never had an unbeaten season. So he has this opportunity coming up. They have to take care of Berlin. Going to be tough to do. Los Lunas and Aztec, that game's taking place in Aztec. Aztec beat Artesia in the Bulldog Bowl. The Bulldogs lost for the first time since 1999.
I know, I could not believe that. I called you or something, right? Because I was shocked by that. That was
the way that unfolded was crazy. Definitely.
The overtime and everything.
Tigers made big plays at the stretch there. You know, they held the Bulldogs in overtime and they got the ball back and made a couple of plays. I think they're like on the 26-yard line and hit the touchdown, and it's all she wrote, you know, but that's what it takes in the playoffs. It's one play.
You know, what's been really interesting to watch Aztec over the year because they've lost some big games early on in the season.
They did. They didn't even look like themselves.
Yeah, but they have leadership coming from Adam Lucero, their quarterback. And remember, if we rewind to the beginning of the season where they lost their wide receiver, the kid who passed away in the auto accident. You know, that's really inspired this team. You know, every time they come out holding his jersey with the banner number 24, that was Andrew Pope, and they're, you know, really vibing off that whole start of the season and really have transformed under first-year head football coach Matt Steinfeld. So it's exciting to see them in the Final Four. And, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing, I guess, an Aztec versus Goddard rematch. I mean, that game last year was excellent.
Well, I think what we saw at the beginning of the year with Aztec, you brought up a good point. You made up you brought up a good point about the receiver being killed. You know, it takes a team a while to bounce back from something. That's traumatic. You know, so football is probably your last thing that you're thinking of, even though you'd like to dedicate a season to him. It probably took them some time to actually get into just, you know, executing everything correctly and doing things right, because that's really traumatic, man. That guy was a part of them.
I mean, anytime you have to deal with that type of adversity, especially for high school students, it's very tough, like you said. And then, you know, not to mention they're coming off a state title, and then they lost their head football coach who resigned after the season.
That's a lot to deal with.
They had to, you know, really transform over the course of the season, and then they actually did play Los Lunas earlier in the season and lost 50-28. That was back in week 1.
Right, I remember that.
You know, you're getting another opportunity 10 weeks later and at home.
We actually had to correct the score. Remember? They had given us, we had got 2 different versions of that, and we figured that the first version was right because it was Aztec, and it wasn't. And, you know, Los Lunas remains undefeated even to this day. 3A now, I'm saying St. Mike's. St. Mike's and everybody else. Lovington, might be Lovington and St. Mike's again, but I'm saying St. Mike's because I think this is their year.
St. Michael's Horsemen, they're undefeated on the season. They've allowed less than 60 points on defense. They returned 18 starters from a team that went 12-1 last year. Last year they lost to Lovington in the finals, 14-10. So this year a lot of that senior camaraderie returns into this year, and they're getting another shot at Lovington down on the blue turf this weekend. So that's a great shot of redemption. And then on the other side you have Silver in Ruidoso, a game that also took place early in the year. I saw Silver earlier this year. I drove through the Hillsboro.
That's a tough drive. Don't go at night.
It was a rough one, but my thoughts were Silver is the real deal. It's a great football city. It almost reminds me of a bigger size Raton because it's a mining town.
Yeah.
They hit you in the mouth. They had St. Mike's down 14-0. So I think Silver and St. Mike's emerge in the finals in 3A.
But who do you pick as the final? And don't give me, because I don't slanted you a little bit, because I know you're an alum, right, of St. Mike's?
Yep, he's called me out. He
there.
threw it out, but I am a graduate of St. Mike's in 2002. Notice somewhere in the blue, right?
Somebody's trying to, he's dishing out what he gets.
Yeah,
Rio Rancho.
That's true.
Comes with the territory. But I do like the St. Michael's Horsemen to win the state championship, going 13-0. You know, something that Coach Joey Fernandez, he's been a fantastic asset to the Horsemen since he took over in the mid-2000s, was my offensive coordinator. So, you know, I would like to see him walk out with the state championship this year.
High school basketball, and I guess Lawrence, both of you guys, I'm just throwing this out there. You guys' thoughts. First week, we see Cibola drop La Cueva. El Dorado struggled with West Mesa at the beginning. They even got down by 10 points, and West Mesa came out. And that game ended up being a blowout in favor of El Dorado. But West Mesa has Jared Baca in the middle, and that guy can play. We saw that because he's a big man who's soft hands, who has a nice touch. And I wonder how this season is going to come out because it looks like it's wide open.
Yeah, you know, the parity is always going to be there, you know, and the teams around the metro area, just around the state in general, are just getting better. You know, just more athletes that at every position. You know, sometimes teams do well when you have, you know, one guy down low that's just going to dominate, or a guard.
The guy from Valley that you did something on, he just hit a big shot the other night.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
you know,
to win that game, actually.
you know, Valley's got a transfer from Farmington, you know, who's going to play some big minutes there. He's already got a lot of attention from big schools like UNM. I want to say there's a couple of Pac-12 schools in there. I don't want to say who because I don't want to get them confused, but. Big kid, you know, he's young, he's talented. Valley, look out for Valley, you know, it's like I said, it's wide open. It's fun though to see that though, you know. You don't ever want to see one big dog just beat everyone else, you know.
Yeah, I think at the 5A level, if you're a high school basketball fan, definitely get out of the metro area and go see some of these games this year. I mean, I went to games last year between Colin Neal and Bryce Alford that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. I mean, those games were back and forth, huge student bodies. You have Neal, who's going to be committed to St. Mary's, or he already is. He already signed his national letter of intent. Then you have Bryce Alford, who just went off for 46 against Cibola in a loss, and he's committed, obviously, to the New Mexico Lobos. So there's a ton of talent here. You're talking about Adonis.
Saltis.
Yeah, Saltis. He's the transfer from Farmington, who's at Valley, and then you combine that with Coach Coleman and then Bo Coleman. You know, we all saw what Valley did last year. Yeah, and then Albuquerque. We were just over there recently. Mahik Sims. Man, baller.
Let me just say this: Mike Smith and the Hobbs Eagles undefeated at this taping. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Hobbs just they whipped Midland the other night. That's all I'm saying, man. Hobbs is still undefeated.
You know, the thing about Valley is they have a lot of guys that play football, you know, so Coach Coleman is, what he was saying earlier, is like, man, he's like, he doesn't have a lot of his starters because they're all playing football. So so now they're gelling, now they're back in there, and it's going to be interesting. I like Valley. For some reason, I like their... I like the coach. I think he brings a fire to the team, you know, and if you're not going to play hard for that guy, he's going to tell you the first one to get off the court. So it's going to be an interesting season for sure.
Yeah, I think also hitting on what Van said real quickly is Hobbs. They have Dane Pinnell, who's gaining Pac-12 interest, and then you have Las Cruces. And Las Cruces, they lose Mondo Marshall, but they return a lot of their nucleus from last year. Kai Williams, Trevor Noel, the 6'7" senior. Dogs are going to be really tough. And then Oñate, they've been slowly doing their thing early in the year. So the Cruces school is always tough to beat. I talked with Coach Tommy Morrow from Mayfield. That guy is amazing. He's a legend. He's a wealth of knowledge. He was a great interview. They don't have much. Their tallest guys maybe 5'8" or 5'9", but it's the Mayfield Trojans. And they're going to do their thing.
Right. Well, we've talked for a long time, fellas. I say we shut it down. What do you guys say? I know we didn't get to like 3A and 2A and 1A basketball and all that, but you know that's for another conversation. So Kyle, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Lawrence is always here on behalf of Lawrence, Kyle, and myself.
Thanks, man.
Robert
Appreciate
Clark
it.
behind the camera. We'll see you next week.